Claims of lying and gaslighting flew thick and fast today as the scrap over pay equity for women continued to dominate political debate. The hot topic overshadowed pre-budget speeches from both National and Labor just over a week out from Budget Day, with the pay equity changes set to save the government billions. Political editor Mikey Sherman has developments.
It was a battle of the pre-budget speeches today, and with the countdown on,
just 9 sleeps to go.
the gloves are off.
I think we are at a moment that requires...
She's talking about like it's Christmas to your kids. It's not going to be Christmas. It's going to be Christmas if at Christmas time Santa comes down the chimney and takes your presents and runs away with them. That's the kind of Christmas it's going to be.
Just combine the two sayings. It's just 9 more sleeps to no lolly scramble, kids.
No lolly scrambles.
There's some honesty.
The truth, he says, is women taking a pay cut through pay equity changes.
Yep.
We won't take it anymore.
If you're taking away money that women otherwise would have got in their pay, I think most people would regard that as a pay cut.
To tell an outright lie to New Zealand workers that women's pay is being cut, that is a lie.
National digging in its heels.
They are outright lies. That's what they're doing. That is untrue. That is a lie.
I think over the last week...
Wondering why they're not saying that in the House. It's funny, eh? They'll say it on the tiles, but not in the House. Wonder why.
We've seen the biggest example of a New Zealand government gaslighting half the population.
How are you not cutting pay when you're saving billions of dollars?
Because we've got a pay equity regime that's focused on eliminating sex-based discrimination.
Not an answer, not an answer, not an answer. Could you please explain to us how this is, how you're getting billions of dollars off the backs of women, yet this is not taking money from women? That's the question. Tell us where that billions of dollars is that was going to be given to these women, that's now not going to be given to these women. So how is that not removing money from these women? Word salad, word salad, word salad, word salad. Look at my shiny head.
I can see how they've workshopped this.
Yep.
Like
outright lie.
We're not. Well, it's not a pay cut because we haven't quite given it the pay rise to them yet.
That's right.
So we've just taken it away, which is not a pay cut.
Yep.
It's such a bush lawyer thing to do.
Yep.
And they've been doing this all the way through.
Yep, 100%.
Because we've got a pay equity regime that's focused on eliminating sex-based discrimination. It got completely out of whack under Labor, way too broad, way too loose.
Chris, let me just interpret for you. It got completely out of whack under Labor. What the Prime Minister is saying here is we need more money for our budget. We need it today. We can't look at the 2026 budget and take it from there because we're already overcommitted. So what I would say to you is we are going to take that money set aside for these pay equity cases, and we're then going to say to these women, we're taking it off, go and try again. In case anyone needed a bit of an interpretation there of what he was actually saying.
Chris Hipkins perhaps played into that narrative today, saying the country needs a mature conversation on debt.
If you look at the huge amount of infrastructure that the current government want to see New Zealand invest in, there's no way they're going to be able to do that out of day-to-day consumption. It's going to have to involve long-term financing.
Now, help me, Chewie, because I thought we were saying, and we said with Craig Rennie last week, 1.6%, that we actually should be borrowing for infrastructure. It's the wise thing to do. But unless I'm hearing this wrong, happy to hear it in the chat, it sounds like what Chippy's saying is, well, they're going to have to borrow for the infrastructure. And I'm like, but unless the criticism is they are saying they're not going to borrow and they're going to have to borrow, because all this way through we've been saying, well, borrowing for infrastructure in economic downturn is a good thing. Can you help me, Chewie, at all?
That's kind of what I thought Chippy's saying here, is that we need to have an honest discussion about what's good to borrow for and what isn't. And I think he's criticising the government here for saying that, they've heavily criticised Labor for borrowing. And then we're sliding into austerity and still borrowing.
Yeah.
So they're talking out both sides of their mouth rather than just being honest with us.
Right. So Steph says this is one of the interpretations. Steph says he's saying that Labor would borrow for infrastructure, which is what we've been saying all the way through. Yeah. But I get the sense that he's also saying the only way this will be accomplished is to borrow. So he might also be saying, National's telling you they're not going to borrow, but they're gonna. So it's kind of a double, maybe a double snatch. He's like saying, you should borrow, but they're pretending they're not going to. And they are. Are we now all agree? We know explaining is losing. Are we losing, or are we just explaining?
I think that that's it. I mean, you can't sit there and cut your income. So they did that by that massive tax rort for landlords, right? You've cut your income. You've got more people unemployed than any time since the global financial crisis. So your tax take is down there as well. So you got less money coming in. You can't cut your way to an infrastructure spend up. So you're definitely borrowing as well. So we're getting the worst of both worlds.
All right. It looks like everyone's in agreement here that Chippy's saying you need to borrow. These guys are pretending they're not going to borrow, but they are. By the way, we would borrow. That sounds like, okay, so we're in agreement.